Hi guys, and welcome to this edition of Phyrefli's Video Digest. As always, thank you very much for watching. This edition of the Digest is all about Planetside 2 and SOE's decision to go ahead and do the launch of the game on November 20th. As you may know, the game stopped a couple of days ago on Friday, so that's it now. For us external beta testers, we cannot touch this game until it launches, and we all know the problems and the issues that the game had prior to the end of the beta. So what this digest is all about is whether or not SOE's made a good decision for launching on the 20th, or have they helped to sign the death knell of potentially one of the best games of the next couple of years. Let's find out. Now I'm going to split this digest up into two parts. This part, which is all about the disadvantages both to SOE and to us of launching the game on the 20th of November, and the second part is about the advantages. Now talking about disadvantages or the negatives, by far the biggest and most glaring one is simply the performance of the game or the lack of optimization. Everyone's had issues when you have a large firefight. Now, I'm running a fairly high-end rig. It's got a 617 there, it's got an overclocked 960 and 12 gigs of RAM. I should be quite happy getting at least 60 FPS on high in whatever situation is going on in the game. And yet when there's a large firefight, I'm dropping down below 30 FPS at times. That's ridiculous. Now, if you're in a beta, you can get away with that by saying it's a beta. And let's be honest, it has been a true beta. It's been a pleasure to be in. I don't think I've ever seen another beta with so many large patches coming out so quickly. By launching the game now, SOE have lost that cover of it being a beta, so they can no longer turn around and say, well, hey guys, we're working on the optimization. We know it's not quite there yet. However, we are still in beta, so please bear with us. When they launch the game, they lose that, and that means that any new players that come in are going to see an unoptimized game unless something really drastic has changed in the last few days. They're going to see an unoptimized game, turn around and say, look, I think it's great and all the rest of it, but I'm getting 20 FPS on medium settings with my medium quality system. I can't play a Microsoft slideshow. It's just ridiculous. So the biggest thing, in my opinion, that SOE are risking is the turn off of new players. Now, they could simply have opened the beta to anybody without it requiring a key, and that would have achieved the same thing as they're achieving by launching. Unfortunately, they've not done that. Now, a second area where they've got a disadvantage is the fact that they can't do character wipes anymore. You expect that in a beta. It may not be great, but there's been several character wipes for this beta, and you're fine because, again, you come back to the excuse of it's a beta, we're still adding things, we need to do this. Okay, that's fine. But if you've launched a game and it's a final game, and then you start doing character wipes because you're messing things around a bit, and this also ties into the cert costs and other things, gamers are not going to accept that. You can't do that in a finalized game. It's just not there. And also, you can't do balancing as much either. You can do tweaks here and there, but changing dramatically the cost of a cert for different weapons, or changing the amount or the speed that you get certifications, or even the kind of changes that they've made recently where you change the mechanics of capturing bases. That kind of thing at best is going to be frowned on if you've got a game that's been launched, and at worst is again going to turn new players off. Now, longer term players, and to a certain degree probably the more mature players, he says, looking at the grey hair on his head, can look past that and say, hey, we know, we understand, we see what's happened. In 3 months, 6 months time, very possibly PS2 will be a fully optimized game, balanced, stable and very playable. But at this point, it's not there. Now, one more thing as well that's on the negative side is that they're bringing it out prior to Christmas, around the time when many other big games are coming out. The biggest one, I would imagine, is Black Ops 2. That was only out a week or so ago. So SOE have launched Planetside 2, an unoptimized, relatively unfinished free-to-play game, about the same time that pretty much the biggest release of the entire year comes out. there's no reason for it. It would have made far more sense for them to release it in January or even February. Open the beta up to everybody that wants to get in without requiring a key, so you get the massive player stress tests. They carry on to sell the Alpha Squad, so they're still making their $40 per Alpha Squad there. Players are still buying that. It gives players more time to buy that. Excuse me. They've got the game far more optimized, more players are coming in, and they're not within that window of so many AAA games being released. January, February, not many games come out around that period. People have already played through the things that they got through prior to Christmas, and that means they're looking for something new. That would have been a perfect time for Planetside 2 to have been released. Now, unfortunately, SOE haven't done that. Now that is, or they are, the negatives as I see them for releasing Planetside 2 on November 20th. What I want to do in the next section is look at the positives and see in the conclusion whether or not they balance or even tip the scales away from the negatives. Now, in terms of the advantages of releasing Planetside 2 on November 20th, let's look at it from the player's point of view, our point of view. What are the advantages to us? Now, if you're a beta tester, there isn't. If you're not a beta tester, if you've not been in, then you get access to the game, which is great, but you get access to a game which is launched. So from a player's perspective, there's not really that much advantage. You can go in and start using your station cash, for example, from Alpha Squad. You can buy station cash, and they've also got the membership scheme coming up as well. So you can go in there and start to spend a bit of money, quickly get whatever weapons or whatever things for vehicles that you want, any upgrades, boots, that kind of thing. So you can do that. And of course, you don't have the fear of your character being white. Now, personally, this is quite a big thing for me. When you're in a beta, I understand that your character is going to be white, it's just part of the thing, but it's a frustration, it's always a hidden frustration of you get your character to a point and then it's white, and then you get your character to a point again and then it's white, and eventually you just sit back and think, I'll just wait till the game comes out. Now that issue's gone, that's no longer there. So your characters are not going to be white, or at least they better not be white on a launched game. So you can invest your time and your energy and your effort and your money in building up your characters. That's a great positive, and I think that will be something a lot of people will concentrate on. But that's about the only positive I can see for the players. Now for SOE, you can't really say a massive influx of players being a positive, because they could have done that during the beta. So there's no real difference before or after launch for that. Also in terms of Alpha Squad, now when you purchase your Alpha Squad pack, or when you purchased when it was available, you had to pay for it there and then. It wasn't something that was taken off your credit card when the game's launched. So there's not that financial incentive for them to launch. They've already got the money of what you paid to them for the Alpha Squad. So that leaves the money from the membership system that they've got in place, and also any ad hoc purchases that you're going to do in the store. And that is really the only advantage that I can see to SOE launching the game now in the state that it's in, as against launching the game after Christmas or middle of next year when it's fully finished. And that's the income stream, the revenue stream, the money that they get back in. Does this indicate that SOE potentially a bit strapped for cash, or that their investors are wanting to cash in on the game earlier than expected? Perhaps Smedley wants to get into his Q4 numbers, the fact he's got the game out and he's got revenue coming in from it. I don't know. But that is the only positive from SOE's side that I can see for releasing the game so early. So the conclusion. Is it better for SOE to launch now on the 20th, or would they have been better waiting a few months and waiting until the game's finished, a lot more optimized and working a lot better? Well, I think I've probably just asked, or rather just answered, my own question there. And in my opinion, it would have been far better for them to wait a few months. They've got the money from the sale of the Alpha Squad package, so in terms of financial terms, the only benefit to them is going to be from in-store and from the membership plan. but they're releasing a game which is still badly optimized. It's still a work in progress, and it's still not finished, and the balance is still not there. If this was a AAA title which you were buying for €50, you'd be upset. I know I would be as well. However, it isn't. It's free to play. I guess a lot of us, myself included, have so far not spent a dime on it. And you could also argue, well, if it's free to play, you're not spending money on it. Well, what's this digest all about? What's the discussion all about? SOE want us to spend money on the game. I know I want to spend money on the game, but I'm going to spend money on something that's finished, not something in the state that it is now. One thing I would like to say before I close this video off is this. I've been involved in many betas, and a lot of my subscribers, people like yourself who's watching this video, were very probably involved in the Battlefield 3 beta and the alpha as well. Now, I've never been involved in a beta that's had so many patches, so much effort, so much respect for the community poured into it. I don't know, Smedley, how much you're paying your guys, but I'll tell you something, it ain't enough. You need to give these guys condos by the beach. They have worked their asses off. I have never seen a dev team work so hard on a game. I've never seen a dev team so communicative as well. It's been a pleasure watching some of their posts. And I know that on the forums that I'm on, a lot of people there are saying, hey, devs communicating, is that allowed? Yes, it is. So in terms of the amount of effort, in terms of the amount of skill that the team has shown, Heatbeat, Trey, the guys, you guys have done a magnificent job. And that is the ray of hope for Planetside 2 as it goes into the future from my point of view. It's the point that you guys have put so much effort into it. I believe you're going to be bringing out a patch a week, at least at the beginning. So we know that the game is being sustained and supported. I've never seen somebody work so hard on a game. Please continue working that hard. You will keep players like myself as long as you put in the effort into it. And once the game's done, you'll be getting my money, I can tell you that. So that's it for this digest. I hope you enjoyed it. It's unusual for me to do something, a digest of this type, on anything other than Battlefield 3, but that game is effectively dead now, I think, as we all know. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're playing Planetside 2. If you're not playing Planetside 2, get it on the 20th of November. It's available on Steam now, so you can download it there, and Steam will keep it updated for you as well, which is another great move by SOE. I look forward to seeing you on the battlefield. I play as Phyrefli in the TR, because basically the Turn Republic rocks and beat the crap out of everybody else. But I might smurf a little bit on the VS and NC from time to time. So, see you guys later. Enjoy your gaming. Take care.